On the last day of 1969, which if I recall was a Monday, in those days many shops, including the famous, closed at lunchtime, and we closed for an hour and a quarter, between 1 and 2:15. And on that particular day I was returning from lunch through the parish churchyard, and as I was coming through I noticed the Tesco building, which was the old Woolworths building, and they had a giant Ventaxia fan that had been over a little cafeteria at the back of their building. And it hadn't been used for years and years, and there was what appeared to be steam coming out of this fan, and the fan was working, and I thought, that's very strange. Came round to the front of the shop here and found that there was a small queue outside Tesco. Nothing, no great activity. So I came into the famous and we opened up at 2:15, and one of the staff said, there's something going on next door, we think it's a fire practice. And walked upstairs here onto the floor we're on now, the second floor of the premises, and I said, we can smell burning. And with that, smoke started to come through our walls here, through the walls literally. Most peculiar sensation from next door. I ran downstairs and we discovered that Tesco were on fire, and called the fire brigade, and the fire brigade appeared quite rapidly. First of all we had one fire engine, and in a short while we had 7 outside, including the newest fire engine that the fire brigade had, with its ladders. Apparently there was a workman on the roof of Tesco who was trapped up there. Anyway, they got this young man down, and with that the whole of the front of the Tesco building exploded. The fire engine caught alight, and it was the start of one of the biggest fires, if not the biggest fire Cheltenham has ever known. It started on the Monday. It put at risk all the neighbouring properties, including St Mary's Parish Church. They were still damping down on the following Thursday. Gives you some idea of the intensity of the heat. Having got our staff out, or the majority of our staff out, and any customers that were in the premises, I only encountered one problem. And on the ground floor there was an elderly lady buying some underwear, and I asked her if she'd be kind enough to leave. I said, I'm afraid there's an emergency, there's a fire next door, and we asked her to evacuate the building. And she turned round to me and she said, young man, she said, I didn't leave London in Hitler's Blitz, and she said, I'm not leaving here until I've completed my purchase. She really got quite ratty with me. And anyway, we eventually got her out, and the company secretary of those days, Miss Janet Scott, who was another quite well-known person in Cheltenham, she said, I'm not leaving, she said, until I've got all the company's books. And we had to come up here, it was already getting very smoky in this building, up onto the cash office on this floor. And in those days, of course, we had quite heavy ledgers, and the two of us had to carry all these heavy ledgers down. Well, by the time we got to the ground floor, we had difficulty in finding the entrance, it was so bad. But eventually they got us out, and the Mr. Lister, who was the deputy chief of the fire brigade, happened to be outside the door, and he said, that's the last time you'll ever be going in those premises. But in fact the fire brigade were able to use a fire staircase we have here to get up to the roof, and they were able to play down the fire, and they saved our premises. So these premises were pretty well intact, although somewhat damaged at the end of it. The neighbouring premises, which were the ones that had been the town hall and had contained the town clock and so on, were completely destroyed, and had to be, the remnants had to be demolished.